Hey y'all, I've been trying to go live for like a second now, but I wanted to talk to y'all about how you can find cheap properties. Um, hey, I also want to address something too that just happened in my hey, I want to address something too that happened in my hey Preston. I want to address something too that just happened in my comments because it's like people crazy. Preston, get off of my live if you're not coming on here to learn about real estate. Go away. But so today I'm just going to talk about how you can find cheap properties. I wrote down some notes, but I just want to tell people like what you should look for. Um, what you should what my notes I have is what you should look for, where you should be looking, and where you should be looking and what you should be looking for. So that's what we're gonna go over today. But I had to just speak on something that happened in my comments in regards to my video about me driving around mansions and stuff in Birmingham because based off of where I want to be and where I want to go and where I want to live. So this particular person said that I am basically by me posting that video, I am showing y'all don't really know what she said. She said something along the lines of it's bullshit what I posted and I should not be posting that. I should be giving back to the community instead of moving away from the hood. Yeah, and then what I posted was bullshit. So, in response to that comment, and I just want to clear the air. If you're new here, if you don't know my story, I grew up in the hood. I don't have a mansion. So what I posted was where I want to be. Okay. So my rental property that I did have that was in the hood, I actually lived in it. So maybe she didn't know my story and when she made her comment, but that's my story. And honestly, I feel like we are so conditioned to believing that we don't even need, that we're not even supposed to be in mansions or be in those neighborhoods, that when you see somebody post about that's where they want to be, you automatically discredit them because deep inside you don't really feel as though you need to be there anyway, because you've been conditioned that long to think that you don't supposed to be in those neighborhoods, and it's sad. But anyway, not disturbed, and I'm gonna get into the content. So if you're new here, and I think that a lot of people just joined me because Official Black Wall Street made a post about what it is that I do. So basically, I am Tiffany DeAndrea, the founder of EncourageMillions.com. I teach other individuals how to invest in real estate and how to get started. I started primarily investing in the hood. I primarily invest in the hood because I want to rent out to single black mothers or single mothers in general, but that's what I try to do. I don't try to discriminate when I rent out, but I do try to look for single mothers to rent out to. And I try to fix up my houses to be against the norm of what you will see in the hood, because I feel like just because you're in the hood doesn't mean you can't have nice things, okay? So when you're looking for cheap houses, the very first thing that you need to do is that you need to drive around these neighborhoods whatever state you're in. You need to drive around and you need to look for houses that have these particular things going on with them. Okay, so I see that I got somebody on here from Birmingham. So in Birmingham, if you drive around West End, Ensley, East Lake, Avondale, Kingston, you see all of these houses that look like this. So you want to look for houses that are boarded up, whether the windows are boarded up or the doors are boarded up. You want to look for houses that, and I roll my nose. You want to look for houses. Now, this is driving. Let me just add that a lot of people go on Zillow looking for houses, and they're like, oh, I'm going to look. Get off of Zillow and go drive around, okay? You want to look for houses where the mailbox is full. That means that it's vacant. What you're looking for are vacant houses, okay? Even if someone is living in it and it looks vacant, you still want to try to look at those houses as well. So you're looking for vacant houses. You're looking for houses that look unkept. And those are the houses that you want to make a list. So when you're driving around, you want to make a list of all of these houses that you're seeing that look unkept, because I'm going to tell you how to go find out information about those houses next. So if you're just joining, I'm talking about where, and I need to pin this comment, where you can find properties for cheap. Hey, why every time I get on here and I try to pin the comment, it don't work? Okay, let me try now. Y'all, I'm trying to pin this comment and it just does not want to work until I'm like about to get off the live, and then that's when it works. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. So we already talked about okay, there it goes. I was trying to pin it. Okay, so we talked about what you want to look for when you're driving around. So we call this driving for dollars. So let me just add that what I'm telling you works for the following people. If you're looking for a cheap house to buy, to rehab, to rent out, if you're looking for a house to wholesale, if you're a wholesaler, what I'm talking about is going to work. If you're looking for your first rental property, but you know that you won't be able to get approved for a loan that's over, $50,000. What I'm talking about and where I'm talking about to look for these properties, this is for you. If you're somebody that you can go to the bank and get approved for whatever, you may want to start a level up and you want to look in what we call Class B and Class A neighborhoods for rental properties, because they're going to be the properties that aren't going to really require rehab, okay? But for the purpose of this live, we're talking about where you go to find cheap properties, what you need to look for, and what else? And how, and we'll talk about that in a second. So you're driving for dollars. You're looking for properties that are overgrown, mailboxes full, boarded up. Okay. So now, for the people that can't drive for dollars, let's just say you don't want to drive for dollars. These are the leads that you need to find and that you need to get a hold of so that you can do what is required to get the property. So number one, tax sale list. So you are not about to look at the particular list to buy them, okay? To buy them out the tax sale. I talk about that in a whole nother class that I got on my website. We're not talking about tax liens, tax certificates. The reason why you're getting these lists is because you are going to reach out to the owners. So you're looking for a tax sale list. You're looking for pre-foreclosures. Now, the people that love Zillow, you can go on Zillow and you can filter down to pre-foreclosures, okay? So if you want to find individuals that are months away from possibly being foreclosed on, and you want to be able to try to buy that home for cheap, you can find pre-foreclosures on Zillow. Once again, everything that I'm saying works if you're a wholesaler, okay? Another list that you want to find is individuals that are recently deceased, individuals that are going through a divorce. Those particular lists, and let me just say this, it may not be the list itself, but you need to go to your county courthouse, probate court, and ask them for the list. So they will tell you we have the list, or they're going to say you have to go on this site, or you have to sit in here and you have to pull the list yourself, okay? But these particular leads, tax sales, tax properties that are behind on taxes, pre-foreclosures, people that are recently deceased, their families are who you're going to reach out to. These are all classified, or what I'm classifying under cheap properties, because these people are more than likely motivated to sell their property, okay? So someone that's recently deceased, their family may not want to keep the property. So they're going to want to sell it as soon as possible. They're not going to want to do repairs. They want it gone, okay? People that are going through a divorce, if they can both agree on selling the house, they're going to sell it to somebody. And tax sales, when you do go get this information, you want to try to get people that are behind on their taxes within the past maybe 2 to 3 years, because those individuals are more motivated to sell, okay? So we talked about where to find them. So we're going to go driving for dollars. You're going to look for boarded up houses. I'm sorry, my sister just called me. I'll call her back. You're going to look for boarded up houses, overgrown overgrown yards, mailbox full, boarded up doors, windows. And you can also look on tax sale lists, pre-foreclosure lists, probate lists, which are deceased individuals and people going through a divorce. So now you got these different places where you can find properties, okay? And also when you go on these lists, you can also look, like let's say you see a house. Of course, we all know how to use Google Map. You can use Google Map, look at the last picture, or if it's in your state, you can drive by it. If it's not in the state that you're in, you can get someone in that state to drive by, get pictures for you, let you know how it looks, etc. Are cheap homes determined by regional areas? No, not really, because you can have a house that is you can have a house that's in a neighborhood where the homes are normally going for $300,000, and that person would be willing to sell it for $175,000. That's still considered a cheap house. But when we're talking about homes that are $50,000 and under, most of the time they are in not regional areas, but they are mostly in lower income neighborhoods of that particular state. So now that you got your list of houses that you want, now that you got your list of houses that you want, and let's say you just picked the house from the list and you're very interested in it. In California, probably not for $50,000 or less. I got a student right now that's in California, and she doesn't even invest there or even try to wholesale there. She actually does this out of state. But it's individuals in California that is doing this, finding homes to rehab, but they're also using hard money lenders because California is so expensive. Okay? So now that you have these leads, this is what you want to do next. You want to go to your local county's tax assessor's site. Most counties have a site that you can search the property's address and see who exactly is you're welcome. You can see who exactly is the owner, okay? Let me just tell you about that. So you have to pay attention to exactly what you're reading on the tax assessor site. So let's say you go to the tax assessor site. Let's say, for the purpose of this live, we're going to use an example. So you have a 3-bed, 2-bathroom home. You looked on it was on the tax list as behind on taxes, okay? You went on the tax assessor site, you saw the owner's name. What you want to do is look at what the tax assessor site is saying, what is the value of that property, okay? Then you want to go to Zillow, and Zillow is not always accurate, but you're going to go to Zillow, you're going to put that address in of that property, and you're going to look at all of the houses that have been sold recently in that same vicinity of that property, okay? Then, the reason why I'm telling you to do all that is because you want to make sure, yeah, you're getting a cheap house, but you want to make sure that once you fix it up, that if you decide to sell it, that you could be able to sell it. And if it's like not a great area that's selling right now, then you can rent it out. But you want to make sure you know the aftermarket, not aftermarket, but the after repair value of the property, okay? And that's just different ways that you can find it out. But once you find it out, you need to get in touch with the owner. So for instance, like today, I know it looks like I'm just like sitting on the couch, not doing anything, but for the past hour, I have been calling individuals on my list. So I picked a specific zip code in Birmingham, and I'm calling individuals to see if they're interested in selling their home because I wholesale. And so now I'm cold calling. A lot of people know I didn't like wholesaling because I don't like talking to people that much. And so it's a lot of things that I want to do. And so I'm using wholesaling to fund those particular projects. So if you're just following me, and you probably know, I bought a property in our land bank for $3,500. I have to fix that property up soon. And I also have a duplex that I got for $700, and I got to fix those up. So right now I'm trying to get the funding for that. It's going okay. I did the roof, but I haven't done anything since I moved out of state. And I gotta do something ASAP. So, now that you have the owner's name, you want to go to the following websites. Y'all hear background up? Hold on, let me mute it. I think it's my TV. Okay. So you want to go to I'm sorry. You want to go to the following sites to find the owner's information. You can go to truepeoplesearch.com or benverified.com. Oh, how's the cold calling going? It's okay. I haven't, just in it, when you call people, like sometimes I call people just so they wouldn't like hang up immediately. Like, so if their name is like Joe Francis, I'll call and I'll be like, "Hey Joe, how you doing?" And then he thinks I'm like somebody that he knows, and then I kind of come out and be like, "Hey, well, I was calling you about your property at 123 Main Street, and I buy properties in the area, so I was just wondering, were you interested in selling it?" So he think I'm his homeboy, or something. Before I say before I let him know that I'm trying to find out about his property. Yeah, so the sites that you can go on to find owners' information of properties is truepeoplesearch.com, Ben, BEEN, verified.com, .com. What's another one? Another one is findpeoplesearch.com. I think that's it one. Or you can Google it, but it's findpeoplesearch.com. But so you want to find their info. Usually it's the top 2 phone numbers that are going to be the most accurate. Now, if they don't have a number, you want to write a letter. And I know this sounds so old-fashioned, but a lot of these homes that are vacant and cheap, these are elderly people, okay? They don't want a text message. They ain't checking a voicemail. So you can write them a letter, and you can just simply put, hey, I buy homes in the area, and I was wondering, would you be interested in selling your house? And leave a phone number where they can call you. For the purpose of doing all of this is for my people that's wholesaling. Get a Google Voice number. If you're looking for the home for yourself, you can just put your regular cell phone number and let them call you. Okay? So, that is what you want to do. And you want to reach out and you want to try to get the house for as cheap as you can, especially when you're going to have all of these repairs more than likely to do. Okay? So, also, 2 sites that you can use that have cheap homes on them, which is how I got my first rental property, is HUDHomestore.com. And I'm going to try to put this up here where y'all can see it. Home Store. And auction.com. Now, in Flip Your Block Academy, when we had our one-on-ones, we actually went and looked at these particular websites in detail. So if you're not on the wait list, make sure you're on the wait list for flipyourblock.com. I think somebody asked me, what is the investment in flipyourblock.com? So in 2019, I am offering 3 pricing tiers of flipyourblock.com. So there's going to be a basic, but the VIP and the premium tiers are going to include one-on-ones. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay, Loretta. So the initial investment is less than $400. So with the initial investment, you have basically, we meet once weekly. That is my plan. Sometimes I go more than that. I always say it's going to be an hour. It always lasts longer than an hour. Also for 2019, I'm including workbooks. I'm just adding more to it. So yes, the initial investment is less than $400, and I offer payment plans. The premium investment, and I think someone asked on the live the other day, is one-on-one, where I travel to you and we work for 6 hours that entire day. So yeah. So this is not a virtual trial. So yes, Flip Your Block Academy is completely online. But in 2019, I'm opening up a specific number of slots for individuals that want to work one-on-one, as in a full day VIP day strategy session. But I'm only opening up like 3 to 4 spots of those. Do I think the market is dropping? Yeah, kinda. So what I think is, but it's still a win-win situation. So what I think is gonna happen is that it's gonna be less flipping and more people buying to rent out. Okay, so the 2 sites I put up, HUDHomestore.com and auction.com. These are 2 really good sites where you can find cheap properties. See, I'm gonna do something different for y'all. My first cycle of Flip Your Block Academy. I'll do something different. I want us to really have like a meetup. So I'm gonna do something totally different for us. But the two sites, HUDHomestore.com and auction.com. Oh, somebody asked, did I get my duplex from HUD Home Store? No, my duplex was a tax lien. The state wanted $6,000. I countered with the state for $700. I got it for $700. I talked to the owner last week, and he's willing to deed it over to me for $200. So technically, I'm gonna invest $1,000 into this property, and it's worth right now. It's worth about $20,000, and after it's fixed up, it's worth $80,000. It's a duplex. But HUDHomestore.com is where I got my first property. I was just looking in the neighborhood that I wanted to invest in, which was the neighborhood where I grew up, and it was listed at, I think, $14,000, and I bid it over for $14,700. I got the funds by getting a personal loan from the credit union. And if you're on my email list, I sent out an email to you guys this morning about how you can find funding for certain properties. So a lot of people, and I talked about this on my last live, a lot of people are not asking for what they want because they automatically assume that they're not going to get approved. So, for instance, like a personal loan. If you can get a car, you can get a personal loan. So, I'm just breaking down. You can join the email list by going to flipyourblock.com, or you can go to my website, encouragemillions.com, and you can put your name and email at the top of the page, and it's also a pop-up where you can put your name and email. But if you can get a car, y'all, you can get a personal loan. So I'm gonna just break down right quick. Sorry, I just keep burping. I'm going to just break down right quick how that looked, how that funding looked. So, I had, and I'm just tell y'all what I had on my credit, okay? And the reason why I'm doing this is not because I want everybody to be in my business, because I don't. But because I am very transparent about this whole process. I'm very transparent about my business, my actual business, my LLC. And so in order for people to really understand, I have to break it down, because people will look at other individuals that you don't know, and most of you don't know me personally, but you look at individuals that you don't know online and you think, I cannot do that. They can, but I can't. So I'm just going to break that down for you, okay? So I had $127,000 worth of student loans on my credit that I did not have yes, I did. I had a monthly payment of $60-something because I have 2 kids and I'm on a payment plan that's based on your income. I'm on an income-based payment plan. I had a house that had like a mortgage payment of like $800 a month. I had 1 credit card, and I had a car that was upside down because I had traded in so many other cars. Okay? At the same time, I had also just filed for divorce. So I had those fees as well. I also had like some surgery stuff I was paying. A lot of people don't know, but if you know me when I used to model, I was like heavy chested, you should say. So I had a breast reduction in December a couple years ago. So I had those bills as well, okay? So what I did was okay. So this was a just a side note. When I get mad, I just feel like I want to buy something. That's something I need to work on. So I always knew I wanted to like flip houses. So I was online looking, and I came across this house on hoodhomestore.com, and I reached out to the real estate agent that I used to buy my current property that I was living in. Now, you have to, for the site hoodhomestore.com, you have to have a real estate agent to bid for you. You can't bid yourself. So I got her to take me by there and let me look at the house. So I remember I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting this house. So I went and I was like, how am I going to get $14,700? Like, how am I going to get it? Of course, I had like 401k. I had a little bit of savings, but I didn't have $15,000. So I was like, how am I going to get this? So I called my credit union. They looked at my income, my expenses, my debt to income ratio, and they gave me the loan. Now, my monthly payment on that loan was only $200. I think we spend $200 monthly without even realizing it. I remember just looking at once what I was spending in food every month, and that was crazy. So the money is there. All you have to do is either increase your income or decrease your debt. Start paying your car note twice a month instead of once a month. It helps pay it down faster. But I got the loan through the credit union. What happened? And she bid it on it for me, and I won the bid because I bid it over by $700. And because I got a personal loan from the bank, they put the cash in my account. I used the cash to buy the house. So at that moment, it was a cash transaction, which takes less than 30 days to close on. So I closed on the house within like 2 weeks. Now, how did I end up getting the house free and clear? Was because the home that I had when I went through the divorce, I ended up selling, and when I sold it, it paid off that loan. I paid off that loan. So that's how I ended up getting the house free and clear. And a lot of work that I did on it, I found my contractors on thumbtack.com. A lot of them were up and coming contractors. They work with me on pricing. I work with them. I made sure I used them on my next projects. So it's just all about building relationships. But you got to ask, like, you can't keep sitting around saying, oh, I'm not going to get approved. I got student loans. Listen, they only count 1% of your student loans. So if you have, and I don't have a calculator on me, but I had $100,000 some worth of student loans. They only counted my monthly payment. But if you are like deferred, they're only going to count 1% of your student loans. So don't think that you can't get it. And now what ended up happening was now my renter pays back. Oh, I pulled out a mortgage on the property because I needed to pay off some debt. And so now my renter basically pays my debt for me. So that is the purpose of like why I try to push people to do this, because if you want to get out of debt, then real estate is going to make a way for you to get out of debt. It's going to look crazy at first because you're like, I already got debt. But once you get a renter in, this renter is paying, especially if you end up owning the house free and clear. Now you're cash flowing whatever the monthly rent is, minus, let's say, homeowners insurance, but you're cash flowing all this money monthly that you can throw towards debt that you have and pay off that debt. Wholesaling. if you know that you don't have stuff to do, like you're in college, or something like that, and you have free time, like I just said, I gotta call all of these people on this list. I'm wholesaling. Y'all, it's people out here making $200,000 a month wholesaling. Like, it's people out here putting up "We Buy Houses" signs in neighborhoods late at night when everybody's asleep. They running out there tacking a sign with some I forgot what those things are called, the little white things, but they're putting them on stop signs at night, and they are making $200,000 a year wholesaling. Go look up Max Maxwell. Go look up Flip Man on YouTube. Like, these people are wholesaling and making money. And y'all know what wholesaling is? Because I've talked about this before. All you are doing is getting a house under contract and selling your contract to an investor. That's it. You don't have to put any of your money down. Nothing. Yeah, you can get a multi-unit. Phone is tripping, my internet. But yeah, so if you don't, so like if right now this live was about how to find properties for cheap, well, it may be some people on this live that can't. Like, you really don't have the money. Trust me, I've been there. You really do not have the money. Go start wholesaling. Like, you can ask friends, family. So you get it under contract this way. So let's use the example I used in the live. This 3-bedroom, 2-bath, the person that was behind on taxes. Let's say you don't want to buy it for yourself. You want to assign it to somebody else that has the money to do what you want to do. So basically, you would meet them at the house. This is if you're in the area. You would meet them at the house, walk around the house, take a lot of pictures, figure out the repairs. I'm just gonna say this: most hood homes, repairs, like, just go in thinking 20,000, just automatically, because most of the time they need a roof, most of the time they need wiring done, most of the time they need plumbing redone. That stuff can cost upwards of plumbing is like plumbing, rewiring. Am I breaking up? I think it's my internet. Okay. I don't know what's going on with my internet, y'all. And I'm scared to connect to the Wi-Fi because I might lose y'all. But plumbing, rewiring, electrical, roof, like, that stuff can be $10,000 to $15,000. So just always think, if you don't know how to estimate repairs, just always think $20,000 when you go in looking at things. You can take a contractor with you when you're going to look at the house as well. When you get under contract, you're going to want to negotiate with them at least 50 to 70% off of their after repair value. So if you're staying in this house and it's like looking crazy but fixed up, it will be $150,000. You want to take off 70% of that, and then you want to determine what you want your fee to be. Don't be too greedy. Most people, their fees are between $5,000 and $10,000. I've seen people with $15,000 fees or $20,000 fees because they looked up and they got a good deal. But you're going to take your contract with them. You're going to take your contract with you. If y'all agree right then, they'll sign the contract, and you're going to take your contract and find another investor to basically sell that contract to. You're going to assign it. So when I said fee, so for instance, you can assign your contract to them for $5,000 or $10,000. Yep, see? She bought her house for $6,000 at an auction, and they spent less than $10,000 to rehab everything. Like, I don't think I spent over 10,000 on my first investment property. I got the plumbing redone, the electrical. I didn't get the roof until like a couple years later. Um, so I probably spent like right at 12,000 or something like that. But I don't think I spent over that. So if you have questions, please drop them now. But this is how you find cheap properties. You really got to get out. You got to drive around. Don't be afraid to go into bad neighborhoods. Keep your windows rolled up and your doors locked. If you're a female, take a guy with you. Don't get out. Don't go getting out, walking around, looking at your house by yourself. I used to do that. But I got a stun gun now. But just take somebody with you. If you're a female, especially if you're a female and you're wholesaling, I wouldn't go to properties by yourself unless you just, have really like talk to them on the phone and you feel comfortable. Like if they're an elderly person or something like that. But I would be kind of. So the wait list is for the academy. So it's a 6 to 8 week academy. It opens up next spring. Where can you find listings for distressed properties? I'm in Los Angeles and it seems impossible to find cheap home. Yeah, it's different programs where you can pull like lists, like vacant lists and things like that. One I know of is listsource.com, listsource.com. And just really people just do driving for dollars. Yeah, so the HUD website, those properties are going to be like cheap. Like, depending on your area, they're going to be cheap for the area. So, if you're in Birmingham, you know where your cheap areas are, the lower income neighborhoods. But wherever you are, use that zip code when you go on there to search. If you know like the low income neighborhoods, if you know that zip code, use that zip code when you go on HUD Home Store to search. But let me just make sure I answer everybody's question. But yeah, Flip Your Block Academy opens next spring. And like I said, I'm only opening like 3 to 5 spots for the one-on-one 6-hour VIP intensive. Will this work in disaster relief areas? So yes, but I would assume in disaster relief areas, would the homes be able to be rehabbed, or would they just need to be torn down? Okay, so with wholesaling, the initial contract is between you and the seller. So you would be the buyer, but you're technically not buying because you don't have the money. You're buying, but your contract is going to have a clause that's going to give you the right to assign it to someone else. Who you assign it to is up to you. It could be an investor you're assigning it to. It could be a family that wants to buy it and their husband can do the work. It could be contractors. Whoever wants to buy it and whoever is going to give you earnest money down and pay cash for it, that's who needs to get the contract. So make sure you get earnest money from the investor. So if you assign the contract to a investor, you can ask for $1,000 down so that you can make sure that they're gonna close on closing day with cash. Hey, Kenny, don't be telling me after April 16th you can join. My business don't work around your dates. No, you don't have to mention the clause during the transaction because it's in the contract. So it's written at the top. Like for instance, my contract I use just a one-page contract, and it says blah 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 between seller, their name, and buyer. So it'll be like my name or my business name, or I could put between Encourage Millions LLC, and then right after that it's gonna say and or assignees, and that's the clause that's gonna give you the right to assign it to someone else. King B of the Valley. If you're not on the Flip Your Block waiting list, send me a DM, and I'll shoot you the link to the free training, to the YouTube video, because that training covers what I just talked about with wholesaling. Does anybody have any more questions? Oh, yeah, I have a wholesaling course. If you want to get it, you can go to encouragemillions.com. Go up to the top to I think it says training or products. Or you can just send me a DM and I'll send you the link. But I do have a course on wholesaling. It's called The Art of Wholesaling. And I can send you the link to that. If you're interested, just send me a DM. I can send you the link to that. That was a question you said, spring. So, yes, I am opening the academy up in the spring. I'm sure I'm going to open it again in the summer or fall. My goal is to open it up twice a year. Oh, okay. So wholesaling, if you missed what wholesaling is, so wholesaling is basically where you are providing a solution for a seller. Yes, I give the actual contract with the Art of Wholesaling Masterclass. But wholesaling is you're basically providing a solution to a seller. So this seller, once again, like I used in the example, they were behind on their taxes. So they probably could never pay their taxes. You got some people who are just, it may be an elderly couple and the husband may have passed away and the wife wants to sell, or they may be sick, but you're basically providing a solution for them. And yes, you're making money in the process, but I always look at it as though I'm helping somebody get out of a situation that they've been wanting to get out of for a long time. And most people think that the only way that they can sell a house is from getting a real estate agent, and that's not true. Okay, so you're providing a solution for them, and you're basically getting the house under contract for a lower amount, and you're reselling your contract to an investor for a higher amount. So think of wholesaling. I'm just trying to think of stuff that we use every day that's being wholesale. When girls buy weave for their hair, the person that's selling the bundles more than likely have bought the bundles for cheap, and they're reselling them to you for a higher amount. You got people out there that wholesales clothing. These boutiques that we see, if you pay close attention, some of these outfits I've seen in different boutiques. Just the same outfit in different boutiques at different prices. That means that they're going to the same distributor or person that's selling the outfit. They're getting it for a cheap price, and they're reselling it to us for a price. Oh, if you need to find buyers, you can also go on biggerpockets.com. I would suggest, if you are trying to do any type of real estate investing, to go join biggerpockets.com. It's a ton of information. Almost every business has a rip-off aspect that can be taken advantage of. How would a real estate investor rip off someone in an unethical manner? I have no idea, because I don't rip off people, so I don't really know. And I've honestly never heard of none of the real estate wholesalers or investors that I work with rip off people, so I don't really know, or I don't really have any stories of people doing that. All I could think of is, like, with real estate, people ripping people off is with these real estate funds. I have to do my research before I would invest into someone's real estate fund. Because those individuals could be taking the money and doing whatever they want with it. And you think that you're investing in this high rise, and you don't ever see your return on investment. So those are some, that's the only thing I can think of, but I don't really know. Yeah, like those, like you've seen people come out with, like, not saying Grant Cardone is ripping anybody off, because Grant Cardone actually would be probably the only individual that I would invest in his Cardone Capital, because he shows exactly what's going on with that particular investment, when you get your return, things like that. So, but it's some other people out here that have real estate funds and things like that, and I would not invest until I know more information about them. Okay, so what will prevent an investor from going around you and going directly to the seller? So that can happen, and nothing can prevent it from happening. But it just, let me just say this, because it just, and I had this happen with my student. It depends on how far you want to take it. So if you have this house under contract and the investor goes behind your back and goes back to the seller, and the seller, sells their house to them, you have a right to sue, because your contract gives you interest into that house. Like, you have buying interest in that property, and it cannot be sold with that being out there. Now, I would say this: if they do it and the title company never knew that, your contract was out there lingering around, that's how they could get away with it. But it just depends on how far you want to take it. I mean, you could sue them, or you could just let it go. If it was like a deal where you were like almost headed to the closing table and that happened, I would be really trying to get my money or something. But if it was a deal like you just started and an investor did that, I probably would just let it go. All right. Well, I have enjoyed it. My goal is to go, thank you. My goal is to go live every week or every day if I'm not doing anything. Like if I'm sitting on the couch like this. But I should be calling these people, which is about what I'm about to go do. So I'm about to do this cold calling, and finish some other things. You're welcome, Kenny. So, let me know, like, y'all can, shoot me a DM and let me know, any questions that you may have, and maybe I can just go live again on them. Okay? So, thank you all for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day. I do have that wholesaling masterclass out there But you can go for any of my products. You can go to encouragemillions.com. All right. Bye.